Howdy ho, campers. I look like I'm in a really weird place. This is just a top bunk. I live in a college dorm pretty much all year long. So there's that. Anyway, I've been trying not to let this get to me, but I realize it's kind of a thing that needs something to be done about it. So I don't know how many of you have a Tumblr, and I don't know how many of you follow Tumblrs that talk about gender issues and things like that. So I happen to follow this Tumblr called Gender Queer, and it's basically a place where people who don't conform to the binary gender structure can go to talk about their experiences and their gender identity. Um, and I I love a lot of the posts on there. They're really educational. They're really fun. You get to meet a lot of different kinds of people on there. But I was reading a post today that really unsettled me, and I kind of wanted to get the news out there about this. I know that, as I said before, I don't have much. I don't have a very big voice, but what voice I do have, I want to use for important things, and this is something really important. The DSM-V, which is a manual for diagnosing mental disorders. I believe that it's only used in America, but I could be wrong about that, so comment below if I'm wrong and just correct me so I can learn something about that. But the DSM-V, uh, it put out its second round of things that it's proposing to be placed in the newest manual that's going to be coming out. And there were two things in there that affect trans people. One of them was a disorder called gender dysphoria, which used to be called gender identity disorder. And a lot of people have heard about this, and it's gotten a lot of coverage in the media. It's one of the big things that trans activists have an issue with and talk about and, protest. And so I don't want to spend too much time on that because I feel like people already know about that. But then there's this disorder that used to be called transvestic fetishism and is now being renamed transvestic disorder. Transvestic disorder. I'm sorry. I just want to open up this article so I don't say anything completely wrong. So the entry on this disorder is authored by Dr. Ray Blanchard of the Toronto Centre for Addiction and Mental Health. And basically, the original diagnosis of transvestic fetishism really only applied to male to female transsexuals, and it really only applied to male to female transsexuals who identified as not being heterosexual. So, in other words, male to female transsexuals who were not sexually oriented towards men. And what they were saying was that if you were a male to female transsexual who was sexually oriented or sexually attracted to women, that's invalid, because what's really happening is you only have an attraction to the idea of yourself as being a woman. And if you go to genderqueer, that's genderqueer.tumblr.com, there's a link to a really long article on what this disorder is defined as and what it really means for the trans community. But I just want to say that, like, if you really read it and you really look at the definition and you really look at the logistics of this, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. And I don't know if I have a huge problem with it because it's transphobic, or because it's homophobic, or because it really enforces the gender binary, or if it's because it's all three of those, which it is. Because you're saying that, a male to female transsexual is only okay if she is attracted to men, which completely invalidates lesbians. It completely invalidates pansexual and bisexual people. It completely invalidates asexual people. It's just, you just shut down all these identities that aren't heterosexual. So it's a really heteronormative theory. But then also, um, you're saying that women can only be attracted to men, and there's only those two categories, and that just completely blows dozens of gender identities out the window, because you're saying that there are no in betweens, and it really just got me crazy. And so basically, what's really important about this isn't something that should be in a diagnostic manual for mental disorders. Being trans isn't a mental disorder. You know, having a gender identity that doesn't match your biological sex doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. And this is something that we really need to combat in general, whether or not we're trans, because this is not fair that people think that a small portion of the community can be trampled all over just because they're a small portion of the community. So if you feel strongly about this issue, if you want to do something about this issue, go to that post on genderqueer and click on the link. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the article, there's a little section that says what you can do now. And there's a link for a petition. And basically it's a petition to remove this disorder from the DSM-V. It's sponsored by the International Foundation for Gender Education. And I'm just going to click on it to see if I can give you the link. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to put the link in the description of the video so that you can click on it right there. I'll even put the link to the article so it's easier to find. And the link to genderqueer, because they should really get props for all that they do for people who have a number of different gender identities. They're really getting the issue and the faces out there in public, so that, you know, people know that this is something that's going on, that's real, that's happening. And anyway, I should really like outline these before I make them, but I feel like I need to just go with the flow and see what I say. But please, 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 please consider going to this petition and signing this petition. The review period for this new set of diagnostic material it ends on June 15th, I believe. So sign it before then if you want to sign it. Get your friends to sign it. Email people about this issue. It's something that we should know about, and I think that, you know, this isn't something that's being talked about in the trans community as far as I know, or at least it's not something that's being talked about on a very widespread level, and it's a big problem, because, I mean, they've added a remission clause to this now, so as to say that even if you're being treated for transvestic disorder, you're never going to be cured of it. You can be in remission from it, but you still have it. And so they use this argument to keep people from things like being able to transition medically. And they use it to deny trans rights politically. So this is not just a theory in a book about psychiatry that's offensive because it's saying that trans people are crazy. This is an argument that completely undermines everything about the movement for trans rights. So really, really, please consider going and signing this petition. I think right now there are 4,226 signatures right now. And if you do sign the petition, they tell you this, but make sure that you use a valid email address, because it's going to send you a link to click on to verify that you are the one who signed the petition. Legally, you need to verify and confirm that that's your signature. But anyway, like I said, please consider that. Please visit genderqueer if you are so inclined, because it's a really great site. And I can't thank them enough. They were actually the first group on Tumblr that got me to start thinking about gender and thinking about these kinds of issues, and they really opened up my eyes to a lot of things that are happening in our society. And it was the beginning of a very, very important part of my life so far. So, like I said, click on those links, see what's going on, and if you guys have any ideas for videos on this channel, just let me know, because I have already run out of ideas, and I'm only on my second video, and so that's not that great. So just shoot me a message on here, put it in the comments, whatever you want to do just to get to me, and until next time, I'll see you guys.